Wow, here we are, day 2 of World Unity Week, and we are right in the middle of it. It's very, very exciting, this whole frequency of empowerment. And as we come into some of the evening sessions and the evening plenary not too far away. But we got a great special program here for you tonight, today, this morning, wherever you are around the world. And it's my honor to introduce Ananda Reeves. And Ananda is a peace activist for many, many years and a peace builder for many, many years, who's been working, Ananda was just telling me, for 50 years, Ananda has been working in the community of building community. There's global institutes of communities around the world, and we have a special program today, Ananda, about empowering community and communities all around the world. So it's great to have you with us, and welcome to World Unity Week.
Thank you, Ben. Well, I'm happy to be here, and this is my forte. This is what I do best. I put people together, and I teach them how to live together peacefully. So I think that's probably right on cue with where we're going with this whole peace unity process, because we have to learn to live together in peace. And so I have an introductory video here for you. This is the introduction to the One Small Town video by Michael Tellinger. Now, I will be featuring Michael Tellinger later on this week, but for today, we're going to talk about how to build a living peace cooperative. So go ahead with the video, if you would, please.
Are you happy with the way the world is going? Do you think we need a new plan? Are you happy working like a slave just to make ends meet, or do you believe there's a better way? A new social structure in which we can work together instead of fighting each other, to free us from the economic slavery imposed on every single one of us today. Well, you're not alone. There are billions like you who know there must be a better way. There is hope. There is a plan, something completely new. We are creating a new alternative, a new reality, a new social structure, without the need for any violence, any resistance, opposition, or conflict. Every day, millions of people wake up to realize that we've become enslaved by the system imposed on us. When we are born, we enter this world free of any agreements, contracts, or obligations. But in time, we realize that there are endless rules and regulations imposed on us, laws and rules that we did not agree to. We can't travel freely, we need passports and ID documents, and we have to work to earn this thing called money, whether we like it or not. This is not freedom, this is pure slavery. From the first breath we take to the last breath we breathe out, there is always some invisible authority keeping us under control, telling us what we can and cannot do. This is not the life we imagine for ourselves. This is not the kind of world we belong in. All of us know that there must be a better way, and every one of us wants to be free. But very few of us know what to do and where to turn. Welcome to the world of Ubuntu, where we are laying the foundations for a new social structure. More often than not, the solutions are right in front of our eyes, and the simplest solutions are always the most effective. Our plan is so simple, we cannot screw it up. We are turning our crazy world around, creating a world of abundance and prosperity that very few of us can imagine in this insane world we are trapped in. By turning competition and conflict into collaboration and cooperation, starting with our small towns and villages, where people still live close to the earth, close to the land and to nature. Creating communities of abundance where people live in harmony and support of each other, rather than divided in fear of each other. Where everyone's talents and skills are used to enhance their lives and to benefit the whole community. A world where everything we imagine is possible, because we are doing it for ourselves and for each other. A world where we can create, build, grow, invent, and implement anything we desire, because the obstacles to progress have been removed from our society. A A world in which every child that is born can grow to their full potential, not confined by the restrictions imposed on us today. A world where the tools of control that restrict all aspects of our lives have been removed. A new social structure, a true utopian world in which the need for money will rapidly fade away. Welcome to the world of Ubuntu and contributionism, where everything we ever imagined is possible. And it all begins with one small town. So, which will be the first town to start the domino effect? Just one small town that'll change the world. Why not yours?
Okay.
A lot of people don't know this, but the best way to make money on
What do I do?
Sorry, Ananda, there was a technical wrong video was playing there. Keep going, Ananda.
Okay, so what we're going to talk about today is going to give a little more background on what One Small Town is. And so could we start the web page, please? Let's see what we're doing here. All right, I'm unmuted. Okay. So yes, could you go to the tab that says One Small Town over to the left of the home page? There we go. And let's scroll down a little bit. So look up just a little more. There, just right there. There we go. So this is the One Small Town is changing the world, and it's created by Michael Tellinger. I actually met Michael Tellinger back in 2017 when I brought him to Eugene, Oregon. And at that time, he was just starting the whole process of a One Small Town concept. And that was 2017. And Michael will be joining us later on this week. He'll tell you all about the progress they've made. And he's changed his logo, because his logo used to say, one small town can change the world. And then it went to one small town will change the world. And now he'll talk about how one small town is changing the world. So it's an integrated community development plan. And let's scroll down a little bit. The mission of the plan is just to imagine that we can all live in abundance and have opportunity of the dreams we've always dreamed of. The main thing that Michael Tellinger talks about is he shows us a plan about how we can take our villages, starting with a small town or a small neighborhood, and we can turn it into a cooperative, citizen-owned neighborhood, not owned by banks, not owned by realtors, not owned by the rich, but the people can own their own town. And so he goes into that a great deal. Let's scroll down a little more to where it says vision. So we're turning a small town into places of prosperity and abundance, and he's going to tell you all about how to do that. And it's for all the people, where anything you can imagine is possible, and we achieve it without any violence or opposition or conflict, with cooperation and collaboration in our community. Those two words are pretty familiar to us because we've been hearing them all out throughout the whole entire World Unity Week. So my plan is to ping off of all of the work that Michael Tellinger has done for years and years and years. And he'll tell you about how he, made mistakes and they had to start over, and it's been, evolving for quite a few years. But my plan is to understand that one small town starts with one big house. And so we're going to talk about how to build a cooperative household that becomes the center of the town for the one small town, and it just blossoms from there. And so what my vision is that we'll have these cooperative houses all over the world, and for our members, they can go to any one of the houses in the world. So if you want to go to Spain, you've got a house there. If you want to go to Europe or Alaska or Australia, there'll always be a house there that's a cooperative house specifically designed to help build the one small town, no matter where you're at. So let's go over to the let's go to the home page now. Okay. So in this process, what we're going to do is we're actually learning how to live together. It's one thing to put a bunch of people in a house, but this is all about, you know, how we're going to do that. How are we going to learn to live together in peace? So let's go over to the next slide that talks about the vision. And so it's a world embracing vision. And as I mentioned before, the big picture is that we're going to have cooperative houses placed throughout the world. And we have what we need to actually get that started. When you look at the screen on World Unity Week, everybody there has got a neighborhood. And so, you know, we're going to start with yourself, your own interpersonal work. Then we're going to do work with how to live with people in peace. That spills out in the neighborhood. Neighborhoods connect with neighborhoods, and then neighborhoods connect with small town. Let's go to this slide now, to the tab that says the plan. And this is where I'm going to spend most of my time today. The plan is a living cooperative. That means that we live together. Let's go up to the hummingbird here for just a little bit. So it's going to talk about member equality. It's going to talk about compassionate communication, unity and diversity, affordable shared luxury housing, and a living peace experiential school. So when you come to live in a cooperative home that is part of this design, you're going to put yourself through a University of Peace Studies. And I know for a fact that I have several people that I would just absolutely love to live in the same space with. But I also know you can't just put a bunch of activists together or a bunch of peace lovers together in a house and expect them to know how to live in peace. So it's extremely important that we learn that for ourselves. And the key to living peacefully is learning acceptance, plus unity and diversity, and lots of time to invest, and that's equals friendships. And this slide here with the animals around it says, it takes time to find a forever home. And so one of the keys that I've learned in living in community most of my life is that it takes time to get to know each other. And so I'm going to show you exactly how we're going to do that. Let's go down a little bit. There's the big house. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to secure a large house for lease for a future date. And so the co-op will be, there'll be no owners. Everyone shares equally. What a cooperative is everybody knows what a food co-op is, or something where everybody works a little bit and they get benefits back from that, and nobody actually owns the co-op. So the beauty in that is that when people are not, when there's no owner in there, there's also no power over. And so we're in the times of living in equality. We're in the times of living in collaboration and unity. And we're going to achieve peace much faster if there isn't an over the top overlooking. Let's scroll down just a tiny bit. I want to finish this green box over here on the left. So the first thing we want to do is we want to have a large luxurious home. And we want to lease it for a future move-in date. And that will reduce divisiveness among future residents. So having an established place secured with deposits will help the dream become a reality. And the participants will be able to we'll be able to see the house before they commit to membership, and they will know which bedroom will be theirs to dream about, and to have an idea of what furnishings to bring to the new house. And they will know what to downsize before they move in. Now, I know that right now, the market is really ripe for big, large, luxurious houses for rent. And I know that they also run on a lease, a year-by-year lease. So our intention is to find a realtor who knows about a lease that's coming up that's not going to be renewed. And then we want to put a deposit on that. So when it comes open, we will know exactly where we're going to be moving. And this might be a year out, but that's okay. Let's scroll up just a little bit. I want to catch this other paragraph here. So that's the first thing we're going to do, is secure a large house. And then we'll have a council that will be chosen to scope out an appropriate house to lease. for our co-op home, which will actually turn into a center. And then based on consultation with future members, the council will consider the needs of each of the residents, and they will conduct a search and bring regular reports to the serious applicants. Let's scroll down a little bit. So this says one small town. It's not, it's bigger than it sounds. So one small town starts with one big house. Let's go down a little bit. These are the things so now we're in waiting. We put our deposit down on a house that we've consulted with all of the interested members, and we've come up with our needs. We may have some special needs. We may need some accessibility, things like that. And so the dream team's going to go out and search and locate and anchor a house for us for later on. Now, while we're waiting for our house to come open, this is the golden time right here. This is the time that no community I've ever lived in has ever exercised. The communities I've lived in have been intentional communities, co-housing communities, shared housing communities, every aspect of sharing living areas, I've been in them. And I've seen what works and I've seen what doesn't work. And what I know for sure is when you move into a community of 50 or so people, they have a vetting process and they ask you, certain questions, and you always tell them all the right answers because you really want to live there. But the thing is, you don't really know those people and they don't know how to vet. That means that you don't know how to learn how to accept and search for the right people. So while we're waiting for our lease to happen, that'll be a year out or however long that is, we're going to be doing some very important work. We're going to do some bonding and committee work and playing and planning, and we're going to attend our own Living Peace University. And we're going to learn how to vet people. We're going to ask ourselves some serious questions. And we're going to ask, who do we want to live with? And how do they live peacefully? And how do they work as a team? And, what kind of habits are we willing to live with? What qualities are we looking for in members? Will they make a commitment to the co-op for a long-term project? And one nice thing about this being a project that's really not going to materialize for, several months or maybe a year is we'll find out who's really dedicated to that process. And what are people's pet peeves and how do we accommodate each other so we can live in peace? I remember when I lived in one community, the whole house broke up because someone decided that the toilet paper should go over and someone else decided that the toilet paper should go under. And so we said, well, it's not really about the toilet paper. The fact is, we don't know each other's pet peeves. We don't know the law of allowing and the law of acceptance. And so the whole conversation went downhill from there. But the real point wasn't the toilet paper. The point was that we weren't talking to each other. So we want to get to know each other's pet peeves before we move in. And we want to know a lot about each other before we move in. And we know we're going to be moving. And so, we have all this time to do this bonding, this growing. We'll be doing excursions and things together. And by the time we move in, we will already have had lots of lessons on things like, compassionate communication, how we're going to make decisions, what do we do when we play? And there's a really big golden nugget in this whole process, which has to do with what we're doing right here in World Unity Week, because this house isn't going to be just a cooperative house where people learn to live together. We're going to be in a house with our co-creators of World Unity Week. That's the point. We have a purpose, and our purpose is you pick any one of the areas in a World Unity Week that people want to resonate with and grow, and we will work together as a household for that. So when we're doing that, the neighbors around us and the people around us will resonate with our energy because we're learning to live together in peace. And when that resonates out, it can't help but attract people in. So we don't have to go knock on any doors. We don't have to do anything different than just be our beautiful selves with a mission of improving World Unity Week. Now, I know for sure that everybody here is sitting in front of a computer. And if you just do a little visualization with me, let's take a look at who's in front of their computer having this discussion right now. And if you zoom out a little bit and you look at the room that they're in, And then you zoom out a little more and you look at the house they're in. And now let's zoom out into the neighborhood and maybe even into the town. Point is, we have thousands of people in the World Unity Week right now, and they all have a neighborhood. Why isn't the neighborhood here too? And so that house is the center, is going to be the example of living in peace. And people really want to see an example of that. Let's slide down a little bit more down the slide. So that chart right there, go back up just a little bit, that white chart. Let's bring that up a little bit. Can we full screen that? Yeah, right there. We'll talk about collaboration. We've been talking about that all week long, but what would it be like to collaborate with the very people that you live with? And what if you were sitting in a big living room with a big screen TV and everybody in the house was watching World Unity Week and resonating with whatever area they wanted to resonate with, but that we're doing that together. So we're going to learn the magic art of sharing. We're going to learn the magic art of decision making, and we'll be doing a lot of committee work together. Let's scooch down just a little more. So we're going to create a co-op, and we're going to talk about all of these things before we move in. We're going to study the important building blocks of a success of a co-op. We're going to have ways to deal with conflict. We're going to have good meeting management skills. We're going to establish clear boundaries and have house agreements. You know, we're going to talk about difficult situations like what do we do with pets and how do we downsize or organize, you know. So this becomes a project long before we're actually neighbors. And so this is the key to helping communities actually learn to live and thrive together, is that they understand each other deeply before they make a commitment to live together. And so once we move in, most of these discussions would have already happened. We'll already have our establishment about how we're going to run our meetings, what decisions we're going to make. We'll have a lot of fun together and things like that. So when we move in, then what do? Well, then we have all our time to dedicate to our purpose, our cause, whichever that is. World Unity Week, there's enough work to do there for a long, long time. Let's scooch down a little more. So again, before we even get our house, before we even move in, this is the stable ground for creating a unified cooperative house. Is that you know the people, you know how to resolve conflict. You've become tight because we find our purpose and we serve on our committees together. We are going on excursions, or experiencing social events, playing with pets and kids and family, and preparing food, enjoying meals together, and interviewing potential new members, and plenty of time to invest. And so it's going to be a very solid investment. People are going to understand that. And I have to tell you that you might find that most of the slides here are about women. And I want to start with a women's house. Because actually I am a woman and I live figuratively alone. And this is the kind of peace I want in my life. I want the peace in my life that I can come home to, that I enjoy the people that I work with. And if just 5 or 6 people from this World Unity Week were in my house, and I got to come home to these people, I would be ecstatic with happiness. And so I know that this isn't for everybody. We're only starting with just a very few people, but our process is going to be duplicatable. We're going to document all of our process from the time we start the project until we actually have our house. And then we're going to create a process that's going to be duplicatable. And anybody in any town, anywhere, can duplicate this process and create another house in another country or wherever they want to be. Once we have several houses throughout the world, then the members will be able to swap out. You know, I have some grandkids in Spain. I'd love to go there. Or I know Ben down in Australia. I'd like to go to that house. And so, you know, it's a big picture and it's a little one all at the same time. But the whole process is that we're going to learn to live peacefully and collectively together in our own skin, in our own heart first, then take that out to our house. The house becomes a center for action and activity for people to come in and see the videos from World Unity Week. We'll have lots and lots of resources to share with them. People will be able to detect what's part they want to be passionate about and take on. We might, over a course of a year, take on several projects. We might play the game for example. We might get into some healing and meditation stuff. But the point is that we're going to learn to love each other and live with each other peacefully. And that's going to reflect out to the world. I don't really know any neighbors that live together in peace. Frankly, I live on a block like everybody else, but I don't know that they're living in such peace and they're having barbecues out on their front yard and they're inviting me in. And I just don't know that's happening. Most households have shut down. They've all become separate. And, that's really not where we're going in this world. So let's just go down one more slide here. One more. Yeah, that's right. So it's a world vision. It's a co-op house. It's a neighborhood that leads into one small town. Michael Tellinger will tell you exactly how he's going to create the one small town. The co-op houses will be all over the world. So we start with a house, we go to a neighborhood, we go to one small town, and then we're in the world. And that seems the most logical way to get from here to critical mass where people are loving to live together and living together in peace. How am I doing on time there, Ben?
We're doing great, Ananda. They're doing great. So you've got about another 4 or 5 minutes to conclude and wrap it up. But it's been very rich and entertaining so far.
Okay, well, I think at this time, Ben, I'll take some questions and answers. I know that this is a mind blower. People are not talking like this. They're not talking about moving in together. They're talking about getting separate. We're not talking about towns becoming an entire cooperative so that banks and realtors and rich people don't own our town, but that we do. And Michael Tellinger is going to tell you all about that. It's a phenomenal plan. And I really see myself as being part of that. He wants to start with towns that are about 10,000 people. Starting small, but you know what? You can do the same thing in a neighborhood. And at no time at all will it start making sense to us that, wait a minute, his formula is that everybody cooperates together, they all work just a few hours a week, and that everybody gets profit off of all the businesses in the town because we all own all the businesses. And so instead of the money going to realtors or bankers, it comes back to the people. Now, it won't take long before your neighbor says, wait a minute, how come you're getting an income from the neighborhood and I'm still working 60 hours a week? I don't get that. So Michael Tellinger will go more into that, but what I'm most is starting the big house and then starting the big neighborhood. So let's take questions if anybody's got a question. And by the way, if you have a question, I want you to reach down at the bottom here where the reactions are and put up your digital hand like this, because then we can find you and we can let you ask your question. Okay, let's go with GaiaUnion.com. Oh, that sounds fun. I want to do that one. Hey, peace and love.
Very nice to meet you. Well, I first thank you very much for bringing these visions. We share them. 99% of that you share is basically what we are also planning to do. So my question is, how do we weave together this? How are you planning to have like the first, the networking or connecting with other similar?
I don't understand your question. What's your question?
I think the question, Ananda, was how that Philippe is saying that it's very similar to the work that they're doing. How can you best work together with other groups? Philippe, is that the nature of your question?
Yep.
Yeah, well, we're going to be a household of peace activists, and each one of them is going to come with their own passion. And so one of the things that we want to make sure of is that we have a house that has 1 or 2 bedrooms bigger than we are. So if we have 6 people, we want an 8-bedroom house because we want you to come and visit us. We want to be open to you coming and talking to us about what you're doing and how we can work together. And all of that has to do with getting to know each other.
So it's mainly physical because, for example, I am in Colombia and we have like a network around the world. Mm-hmm. So we're planning to have these meetings actually during the 99 days of how we put these proposals together because we have, as I said, the same plan, let's say, but in a bigger scale of different countries at the same time.
What I suspect is going to happen is that this idea is going to get so clear to people and people want it so bad. We'll probably be starting several co-op houses simultaneously all over the world. And we're going to be developing the process about how we do that. And so, yeah, let's form a sister house, let's get them going right away. I have the feeling that when I'm done with the World Unity Week, we're going to already have several people that want to start a community house. And let's create it together. Absolutely. Yeah. We're not on this planet alone, Who else has got a question? Let's see. We've got Lauren Pearson. Hi, Lauren. Come on in.
Hi, Ananda. How are you?
Fine. I'm wonderful. Thank you.
I was mainly interested in how people would support themselves when they live together in these houses. What kind of jobs would they have? I mean, if you move to one of these houses somewhere else in the world, I would have to have an income or have some money in the bank already or something.
Yeah. And so what I know for sure is that it's very affordable for 6 people to rent an 8-bedroom house and have it be much cheaper than anything they live in now. And so there's that.
Right.
But here's the other thing. We have now we have an active team. Let's say we have 6 people sharing an 8-bedroom house. We have 6 people there, and all of us are unified together on a committee of purpose. And so maybe one of those committees will be to go find some funding for us so that all we have to do all day long is do piecework. We don't want people to have to go out and work. We want to support them in our home, and we want them to have their undivided attention so we can get some serious work done.
Well, that's very nice. Yeah, because I'm in the middle of changing my life right now, and I have a really good job at the moment. But when I change my life, I'm not going to have much of an income, and I would like to entertain this opportunity if I get a chance to move into one of these houses or apply for it anyway. But that was one of the biggest questions: is how do you make money? I guess that would be part of the group thing.
If you work with Michael Tellinger, he'll tell you how we're going to get away from money, because we're going to all co-create it together, and it's all about everybody cooperating. So you take the bankers and the realtors and the insurance people and the businessmen out of our town, and the town now belongs to the people, and the people are getting 60% of all the businesses in the town because they're putting in a little bit of time. That's the formula for a co-op. You don't have to have an outside job. Well, I'd love to support you. Like, just come here and work with us full time and give us all the time that we need to really just bust this thing open.
And then if I may, one more question is, what kind of a time frame, I might have missed this, but what kind of a time frame is there on this, and how do I stay in touch and fill out an application or whatever?
Yeah, so time frame is I'd like to secure a house right away, and then I'd like to be at about up to a year out before we actually occupy it. So we'll have the house, people will know which house it is, they'll know where they're going to be living, and while we're waiting for the house to open in the next lease, then that's when we do our work. The work I'm talking about is the interpersonal, inner peace work, not the work of the world, because that'll come.
Yes, yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you for answering those questions.
Okay. Who else have we got here? Anybody? How am I doing on time?
You're doing great. You've sparked a lot of interest here, Ananda. I'm sure these ideas of community living and communal living, while certainly not new, they've been around forever, but we went so much into the nuclear kind of deal, and everybody having their own large home here in suburban Australia. It would be a radical transformation for people to move into communal living. So I think you're onto something here, which is going to be a really important part of what's evolving over the coming year and years ahead. So thanks for sparking the fire. I know you got lots of us thinking, and this conversation's just really ramping up as to what does community look like in the new earth, and what does housing look like What does
Yeah.
architecture look like? What does farming look
Me
like?
started,
All that sort of stuff.
wow, what am I going to do for housing? But see, Ben, you're a perfect example. I think of you, and I don't really know your situation or anything, but there's a lot of people that have their homes and they're married and they have kids, or they're set where they are. They're not going to be ready to move in with us in a year, but you can support our house, and there's lots of people that will support this financially, with time, come and paint a room for us, whatever. It becomes a cooperative effort because, the people that are working there, that live there, will be working for the cause. And you want their attention and time to be on that. You don't have to,
billing.
Go on to jobs and things. But so there's so many people that would support it financially as everything else. I can't move in. I've got a wife and family and kids. But here, you know what? I want to make a donation to that. And so we totally expect to find that money. At the same time, we're growing a small town cooperative.
Love it, love it. Well, we look forward to making the bridge between what we've done here today, Ananda Reeves with the Living Peace Cooperative, and of course we look forward to bringing Michael Tallinger in too as well when the stars align and the time zones align. We'll get Michael here to talk about the One Small Town Initiative, which is clearly very connected to the work that you're doing and this whole conversation. So this has been a really important, I think, featured event for us today, all about empowerment. How can we empower communities and community living? So thank you again for being with us, and thank you for being in World Unity Week, Ananda. More to come. Thank you for now.
Pleasure, and thanks so much for having me. I can't wait to see what we do next.